I'm Huon Hooke, and this is The Real Review. The wine we're tasting today is Redman Coonawarra Cabernet Sauvignon 2017. So the backstory of this wine is that the Redman name, of course, is synonymous with the name Coonawarra. If there's any name that is more associated with Coonawarra, I can't think of it. Redman was there right at the beginning. The first Redman was Bill Redman, who arrived in Coonawarra in 1901, aged 14, and he started working immediately for John Riddoch, who was the founding father of Coonawarra wine region. Riddoch had a winery, which is now the famous Wynns winery. I think Bill Redman worked for him for about 7 years before he went off and bought a bit of land and established his own vineyard and started making wine. His son Owen eventually joined him in the business, and Owen became very well known as well as the public face of Redman. These days, Owen's two sons, Bruce and Malcolm, are the winemakers and viticulturists, and two of Bruce's sons, Dan and Michael, are now working in the business as well. So we're into the fourth generation of Redmans. They are a famous family in the district, of course. Their original winery, Bill Redman's original winery, was called Rouge-Homme, which is the French for red man. A bit of a play on words, I guess. And they sold that to Lindemans in 1965. But they immediately bought one of their growers' vineyards and set up a new winery and started making wine. So from then on, there was the Redman winery and Rouge-Homme side by side in Coonawarra. So Redman, yeah, red by name and red by nature. They only produce red wine. And as far as I know, they've never ever made a white wine. So Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz, Merlot, everything they do is based on those three varieties. How does the wine taste? Pick it up, have a look at the colour, a very good youthful colour, 2017, it's 3 years old, a bit over 3 years old, still has a very good colour, as you'd expect. It's not too dark, not too deep, it's translucent. Smell it, and it's got, wow, it's got a very distinctive Coonawarra Cabernet nose, I think. It's got crushed leaves, it's got cedar, it's got black currants, but that's all that is underneath. There's a layer of savoury notes that go over the top of that. There's tobacco, there's humus, there's underbrush, briary sort of characters. Really quite complex wine. And they do let the fruit do the talking. There isn't too much oak there at all. In fact, you can barely notice any oak. Let's have a taste. And the wine it's not a big wine. I'd say it's medium to full in terms of body weight. The acidity is quite marked. It leaves the finish really refreshing. It cleans the finish, that acidity. That will help it age and also help it go with food. This is not a blockbuster of a wine. In fact, it's sort of harking back to the style of wine that Bill Redman and Owen Redman made famous, which was quite low in alcohol compared to a lot of the modern proponents of Coonawarra red wines. This is, I think, only about 13% alcohol, 12.8% alcohol according to the label. So what that means is a more elegant style of wine, what Owen Redman would have called a luncheon claret, probably. So how do we rate this wine? Well, we scored it 95, which is a gold ribbon, and we scored it number 1 out of 18 of the 2017 Cabernets from Coonawarra that we tasted, which makes it a top value and top rank wine. We suggested drinking it from now until 10 years hence, 2030, but I have no doubt that this will last for at least 20 more years, no problem at all. So, classic Coonawarra Cabernet, and it's designed to age well. So what food would we suggest you have with this wine? We do ask the winemakers to recommend something, and Bruce and Malcolm Redman suggested roast pork belly. I couldn't think of anything better. Wonderful. The fattiness and the protein will combine with the tannins in that wine and soften it and make it really quite delicious to drink. So cheers to that.